The Aquateam is visiting two tiny islands in the Bermuda Triangle. They're surrounded by shark-filled waters and swirling with mystery. Aquateam is here to learn about sharks and search for a city that sank 10,000 years ago. The Aquateam has just arrived in Bimini.
Good job. Good job.
Our dive master in Bimini is Captain Bill Keefe. His daughters, Shannon and Kyla, are going to show us around Bimini before we begin our aqua missions.
How you guys doing?
Good.
You guys ready for your tour?
Yes.
All right, let's go. We'll show you all the good spots.
Okay. Cool.
So living here is pretty easy. It's basically just living in a small town. Everyone knows everyone, and everyone's basically family, and everyone takes care of everyone. You don't really have to worry.
It really is like a small town. In some places, it's only as wide as 2 football fields, and there's less than 2,000 people that live there year-round. Bimini is famous for 2 things. The water here is teeming with fish, including sharks, and scuba divers flock to see an underwater mystery locals call the Road to Atlantis.
The Road to Atlantis is a row of underwater stones that look like they're laid out in some sort of pattern. It looks a lot like a road. Some people think it could be part of the sunken city of Atlantis from Greek mythology.
We have quite a bit of people that come in wanting to see the Atlantis stones.
We just have 2 rows of parallel stones, and that could be, some people think it's a breakwater, acting kind of like a seawall or a dock. Back when the water was at that level, that could have been a harbor.
But only some people think it's the Road to Atlantis, right?
Isn't that because of Edgar
Casey?
That's why people think it's connected with Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a sleeping prophet, and so a lot of his predictions came true. And since most of his predictions were true, that's why a lot of people do think that this is Atlantis.
We're splitting Aquateam into 2 groups today. One group is heading out with Kyla and Shannon to explore the Road to Atlantis.
The rest of us are going to see some of Bimini's baby sharks up close. We're going to the Bimini Biological Field Station. Marine biology students come here from all over the world to work here, but everybody just calls it the Shark Lab.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm the station manager here at Bimini Biological Field Station.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Primarily, we concentrate a lot of work here on lemon sharks. Bimini is an important habitat system for the lemon sharks. Just in this area up here, we've got some nice mangrove-filled shores that provide like a nursery for the little lemon sharks here. Every year, adult females come into Bimini. They come through this lagoonal area, and then they come into the North Sound and what we call Sharkland, so this area up here, and give birth to these juvenile lemon sharks. What we're going to do today is we caught some lemon sharks 2 days ago, and we need to put a little tag in them, a passive integrated transponder, a PIT tag, and we have to measure them, determine the sex, and take a genetic sample for our studies.
They said we're going to catch a shark, and all they gave us was a net?
Sharks! Oh, what's that?
That's a shark.
What?
Yeah.
How old's that one?
That's only a couple of weeks old. That's a little baby nurse shark. A lot of people are scared of big, great whites and stuff like that, but when you see a little shark that's that big, I don't know how you can't think it's cute.
They're little, but they're still sharks. I don't know if I'd call them cute.
Naturally in the wild, they're always resting. They seem to like to rest together as well.
But don't fish and shark need water through their gills so they can breathe?
That's a common misconception with sharks. Certainly a lot of the larger, more pelagic species, like great whites and oceanic white tips and sharks like that, they need to keep moving all the time to breathe. They have little microsleeves. But then there are also other sharks that don't need to do that. Both lemon sharks and nurse sharks are good examples of it. Naturally in the wild, you'll often find like nurse sharks, if you're scuba diving or something like that, just almost asleep under a crevice. They can actively pump their gills.
I can't believe she's just gonna walk in there with her bare feet.
We've got one extra, right? Yeah. Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. So I'll take this guy for a little walk. What we want to make sure is that we always hold them just in front of this first dorsal fin. If it starts struggling or something like that, we never actually want to let it to the point where our hand will slip back. We never want to hold onto its tail or anything like that, because both lemon sharks and nurse sharks can turn around and bite their own tail. Who wants to hold first? All right. That's what I like to hear. All right, so if you want to just put your hand in front of where mine is, just watch where your other hand is as well.
It's so small, you can fit like your entire hand around his body.
It was so cool. We got to hold little, like the tiniest little nurse shark I've ever seen. It was so cute.
Joseph?
Yeah.
If you want to just go, yep, just like that, perfect.
I still got him. I actually can put my whole hand around it.
Yeah, try not to give him too tight because all his organs are just on the below, so try and hold him at the top as much as possible. You ready?
Is he?
Okay.
Don't point him at me, please.
Got him?
No? Wait. Okay, yeah, I got him. Oh my god.
There you go.
Cool.
Now you're just gonna say you've held a shark.
So small, too.
I was a little nervous, but I have to admit, it was pretty amazing to hold that baby shark. Kat's gonna show us how they're tracking Bimini's sharks.
Firstly, we're gonna scan it to see if this guy has a pit tag. If this guy doesn't have a tag, it means it's a newborn shark. So what we'll do is we'll measure it and then we'll put a pit tag in it and then you can scan it to see what it is afterwards. Okay, ready, Amy?
Yep.
Okay, so PCL is 46, fork length is 51, and total length is 61 centimeters. So the next thing to do is we have to insert a little pit tag. It's tiny, it's just the size of a grain of rice. All right, so what I do is just right here, make a tiny little incision, like that. He's all right, didn't even flinch.
Like, I really don't like people hurting animals. I'm really sensitive about that. So I was like holding Isabel's hand and like squeezing it as hard as I could. I was kind of scared.
So
He's
would that
okay.
have hurt a little? Would that have been like...
You've got to remember that sharks have really, really thick skin. It takes they've got very, very thick skin. It takes a long time to get through to their body. So it's a lot thicker than ours. And see, I'll just slip this in. All right.
Cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. And if you'd like to read the number out to Amy.
484.
Like, if they find that shark again, they can trace the number back and they can see where they found the shark, you know, how big it was when they found it, what year they found it. Like, it's pretty cool.
The next thing we have to look at is its umbilicus scar. So what I'll do is turn this guy over. Lemon sharks are like us and they're born with an umbilical cord. You can see how there's kind of a little line. This one's half open. When they're born, just straight out of the womb, that is fully open. So we know that this one's half closed, so we know it's been around for a couple of months. Did you notice how this guy, when I flip it over, they go into this thing called tonic immobility? It's like this trance-like state.
No one really knows how it works, but it was really cool because we got to touch a shark after it was in tonic. And then we rolled it right back over and it swam right away. It was so crazy.
She taught us a lot about don't be afraid of sharks because it's just Hollywood making horror movies and just scaring their audience, but it does take a little bit to get over that a little bit, just to forget about the movies of Jaws. While we're at the Shark Lab, the rest of the Aquateam is getting ready to explore an underwater mystery, searching for a sunken city. They're about to dive in and decide for themselves if Bimini is the home of Atlantis.
The Aquateam is on Bimini in the Bermuda Triangle. Some people think a mysterious underwater site holds the key to the lost city of Atlantis. We're about to find out for ourselves. We're going to explore Bimini Road with Kyla and Shannon's dad, Bill.
It's a great little spot. It was discovered back in the 60s. And basically what it is, there's a series of rectangular stones that are out there. And it appears as if there's some design to them. And there are people that believe that it's Atlantis. There are people that believe that it's just a natural formation known as beach rock. There's people who believe that it's a primitive formation, doesn't have anything to do with Atlantis, but it does have some man-made aspects to it. So there is quite a bit of controversy about it, and that's why a lot of people like to come and see it. They want to see for themselves. So, sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
Great.
To Atlantis!
Go ahead, lift. Good job. Good for a first timer.
We're going to use underwater scooters to explore Bimini Road. We haven't used them very much, but our cameraman Mike has had lots of experience with them.
This is going to let you fly, because it's essentially an airplane motor with handles on it. So very simple, turn it on here, simple switch, 1 speed, 2 speeds, 3 speeds. All right, if it gets too crazy, just let it go. They can be dangerous, right? Because without realizing it, you could be like heading to the bottom. If you're in a water column where you can't see the bottom and your depth could change quickly, up or down, and of course that's not good. You have a tendency to want to maybe hold your breath a little more than you should, and if your elevation is changing, then you of course could get into trouble. So, but once you learn to master it, it'll be a great way to explore the Bimini Road.
We decided somebody needs to see what Bimini Road looks like when you see the whole thing. And the only way to do that is from the air. I want to get a bird's eye view of Bimini Road. It's so cool seeing things from that high. It's almost like a roller coaster because you get adrenaline rushes when you're going up, down. We were 2 feet off the water at one point. From up here, you get a totally different perspective. When I seen it from the sky, it just boggles my mind how it can be natural. There's only a certain area where the rocks are placed. If it was natural and it's just erosion, then it would be like a wide distance where all the rocks would be, and it would look like it just disintegrates.
And down on the boat, we couldn't wait to get in the water and see Bimini Road up close.
So what do you believe? Do you think that Atlantis is true?
I believe that it's not natural.
Like everyone else, I think I have to see it first. I've seen a lot of pictures, but I think I have to see it for my own eyes, for myself.
Before you decide.
Yeah.
I really want the whole Atlantis story to be true because I'm totally into all those myths and all that Greek mythology and stuff like that.
So I'm kind of like 50-50. I can't really decide.
I'll be really excited if we do actually find some evidence.
team, let's get in the water!
The water is about 18 feet deep. That's about 6 meters. We'll be diving for 25 minutes.
We were trying to find Atlantis, see if it was there, see if Bimini Road was the road to Atlantis. And it was really, really cool, you know? You could actually see the road, and it was like a perfectly straight line.
It was like someone had put down a grid and just put the blocks there.
They were like measured up like the exact same distance apart. They were all at 90-degree angles.
And they had perfect parallel lines everywhere, and it just totally looked like a road. So we were all like, oh, geez.
I had a lot of fun with my buoyancy, and I didn't have any air in my BCD, and I just practiced like breathing, because when I breathe, my lungs would fill and I'd have air, so I'd get buoyancy from the air in my lungs. And I want to get closer to the fish without like scaring them, so I just kind of breathe out slowly and I get kind of closer, but like smooth closer. I really like seeing and feeling the changes in how we're getting better.
We all took turns using the scooters. They're a little tricky to use, but totally fun. It really is just like flying underwater.
I couldn't control my buoyancy, which was very tough, and I couldn't really enjoy Bimini Road like everybody else was. I didn't put enough weights on my weight belt, so I was really floating to the top a lot, which really wasn't good, and sometimes it's not safe. So I usually use the scooters, and the scooters were helpful because they kept you at one level without you going up to the top, so that was really helpful. My BCD got caught into the scooter, so my knife came out of my pocket in my BCD because the scooter was just running around like screwing up my BCD. So that wasn't safe. That really wasn't safe. And I asked Kumbi, who was really nice. She held the scooter for me and put in my knife. So I gave her a hug and I was really happy. So Kumbi was really nice to do that.
So tell me, how was your dive?
Great.
So good.
Because you could actually see that it was perfectly straight and like it was like a road. Not saying that it was the one to Atlantis, but I do think it was some type of like straight line road, perhaps.
But I still don't think it made anyone's like minds up.
No,
like
no.
We're still not sure, but we definitely, I think we all think that it's man-made.
Yeah, we could tell it was
Something,
man-made because every single piece of the road was like 90 degrees, placed perfectly beside the other. So
We think it's probably man-made. But is it really the sunken city of Atlantis? Let's go see what the rest of Aquateam thinks. The Aquateam is in Bimini. We were just exploring a mysterious underwater rock formation some people think is part of the underwater city of Atlantis. It's time to say goodbye to Shannon, Kyla, and Bill, the local family who took us diving on Bimini Road. We had a lot of fun.
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, guys. This was great.
Enjoy the rest of your adventures.
Thank you. Thank you.
We think what we saw was man-made, but we're not sure if it's really the road to Atlantis or even a sunken city at all. Let's see what the rest of the Aquateam says.
I've heard a lot of scientists think that the road is just a rock formation. When we were walking along the beach, I saw tons of rocks that were split along straight lines. Nobody says that's a part of an ancient city.
So you guys, is this what Bimini Road really looks like?
No! It's more rectangular, and all the edges are curved perfectly.
It's perfectly put into line.
And they were so much bigger.
So do you actually think it was the road to Atlantis?
No.
No.
It wasn't the road to Atlantis, but it definitely wasn't natural.
Yeah. They were all like set at 90-degree angles perfectly. That basically gave it away.
I think the road to Atlantis is definitely man-made, and this one actually is just all natural.
Well, what about on the blocks? Were there any like relics or designs or anything?
No.
Anything?
Is there any proof of men making them, other than the fact that you guys said that they're 90-degree angles?
It's just an ancient rock formation that used to be snug, and then water and sand would get in, and it would like rub around, and then it just eventually eroded it away.
I think it's man-made. There's so much fact behind it.
Gonna agree to disagree?
Yeah. That's a good idea. It's like, one thing we can all agree on is that we'd all be happy to stay and explore the road to Atlantis forever. Still haven't decided about the whole Atlantis thing, because I definitely think that it was man-made, because they're just too perfectly gridded, if that makes sense. I don't think that's a word, but they're in like grids, and there's like little lines of sand in between each one, and it's like a perfect, well, not perfect, but it's like a 90-degree angle on like each thing. So it's just too perfect for it to be natural. Like,